Okay, welcome to the video. And before I get into this video, I'm going to read something about the Icon of the Seas, a cruise ship, which is part of the Caribbean cruise ship line or Royal Caribbean cruise ship line. Okay, found this on CNN Travel, and it's titled "Fire Breaks Out on World's Largest Cruise Ship." And it reads as follows. Crew on board the world's largest cruise ship, the Icon of the Seas, were called on to tackle a fire this week as the gigantic vessel was bethered in a port in Mexico. The small fire was quickly extinguished after it broke out on Tuesday. The ship's operator, Royal Caribbean spokesperson, confirmed to CNN Travel. The cruise line said there were no injuries and no overall on the board impact was minimum. The record-breaking Icon of the Seas, which is nearly 1,200 foot long and 250,800 gross tons, was docked in Costa Maya, Mexico, which the incident occurred. The vessel briefly lost power, but backed up power was activated right away. The Royal Caribbean spokesperson confirmed crew members controlled the blaze, expanding all crew are trained to handle such situations. During the incident, on-board announcements alerted passengers about what was happening, according to the cruise line. Social media users on an Icon of the Seas Facebook group spoke of minor disruption to their day, but proceedings were quickly back to normal. The $2 billion Icon of the Seas made headlines when the vessel launched earlier this year. With its 7 swimming pools, including a record-breaking 17,000 square foot water park, the vessel's current interior hasn't been impacted by the fire, and the ship is now en route to the Mexican island of Consol. In March, a fire broke out on a Carnival Cruise Line's ship, with footage captured by a passenger of the ship's tail ablaze. Speaking on CNN Travel, a Royal Caribbean spokesperson said minor fires are not common, but also not uncommon on cruise ships, but are usually handled swiftly and with minimal disruption to passengers. Whew, man. Yeah, a small fire broke out on the Icon of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship in the world that's part of the Royal Caribbean cruise ship line. Man, um, that's scary. Yes, yeah, I'm glad that everybody's okay. Um, Speaking of Royal Caribbean cruise ship, um, last year on October the 15th of 2023, in the autumn season or autumn, I was on a cruise ship, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship called the Odysseys of the Seas. Um, it was about as big as the Icon of the Seas. And let me pull something up about the icon, not the Icon of the Seas, but let me pull something up about the cruise ship that I was on, that I sailed on through the Mediterranean Sea back in October the 15th of 2023. Yeah, I sailed on this ship from October 15th to October 27th last year, which is 2023. So I'm going to pull something up about this cruise ship that I was on called Odysseys of the Seas. Okay, I found something about the Odysseys of the Seas, the cruise ship that I was on last year in the autumn of 2023. Found it on Wikipedia. So let me read this. Odysseys of the Seas is the second Quantum Ultra class cruise ship and the last of the class operated by Royal Caribbean International. She primarily operates in the Caribbean out of Port Evangelis. Planning on the third day of November 2015, Royal Caribbean entered into an agreement with Mayor WEF for a fifth Quantum class ship, originally scheduled to be delivered in fall 2020. The delivery later was proposed until postponed until 2021. It was given the name Odyssey of the Seas on the first day of February 2019. On the 12th day of September 2019, it was announced that Odysseys of the Seas would home port at Port Evangelis. Construction began with the steel cutting ceremony on the first day of February 2019. The keel was laid on the third day of May 2019. The coin ceremony was announced on the same day, featuring a coin being placed under the first block out of 79 total blocks of the vessel. Odyssey of the Seas floated out of Mayor WEF's shipyard on the 28th date of November 2020. On the 28th date of February, the ship arrived in Elshaven for final outfitting. On the 13th date of March 2021, Mayor Elf announced the start of the seas trials in the North Sea, and she finished her trail on the 25th date of March 2021. Okay, so this ship I was on, Odysseys of the Seas, was okay. I think it says it was okay. It was built. Okay. Yeah, it was built in Germany. Yeah, I know that. I already know that the ship was built in Germany. Yeah, because I heard. Yeah, the ship was built in Germany. I think it was built and delivered in the fall of 2020. Yeah, it's a really nice ship. I've been on that ship. Yeah, it was a ship that sailed around the Bahamas, and it ended up in Europe. Yeah, being on the ship, it was a mixed bag, and it was, there were some nice people on there. There were some people who weren't nice. I was around a bunch of drunks who got drunk on the ship. Bunch of white people, white Americans, and and an old couple wanted me to take a picture of them. It was a young woman and an old guy. And that's it. I didn't socialize with them. I didn't socialize with anybody on that ship. Because, most of the people, I think some of the people were Asian, and I was too shy to talk to them. But, I ended up talking to some Americans, black people from the States. And I was talking to them, when I was playing pool in the pool hall, in the music hall. And none of them didn't want to speak to me. I think it was some old couple, and I think the woman was singing a song from Tina Turner that was being played over the intercom. So I was very lonely. I spent a lot of time, in the cruise ship cabin with my dad. I shared a cruise ship cabin with my dad, and my sister shared a cruise ship cabin with my mom, and I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't talk to my mom, my sister, and my father. A lot of them gaslighted me. Well, my mother told me that, oh, you can't trust anybody on this ship because they'll take advantage of you. If you go into their cruise ship, they will screw you. And there was some people in there with children, with families. A lot of people were married. I just felt just miss out a place on a cruise ship. You know, I look at a cruise ship. It's not a good place to meet people because you go on a ship like that. You be on a ship with full of like couples. You know, people with children, families. I just felt miss out a place. I was just lonely. It was the wrong place to go. So um yeah, there's a cruise ship. There's a cruise that's coming up, which I have no control of. You know, my dad's planning this cruise ship to Asia, and I just feel that I don't want to go because being stuck with a dysfunctional family. I can't socialize with anybody on the ship. I'm constantly worrying about my mom and my dad and my sister because they're all old. They all have health problems, health issues. They're just screwed out of their minds. They're just old and broken, and I didn't ask to get into this, but if I escape, if I refuse to go, I mean, it's gonna cause a lot of problems, with my mom. My mom want to know, "What, you gonna go with us or not?" I can't give my answer on it because those people don't want to listen to me anyway. So yeah, Odysseys of the Seas, the Odyssey of the Seas cruise ship, a fire didn't break out on this ship like on the Icon of the Seas, And again, I'm glad that people on Icon of the Seas is okay. Everybody's safe on the ship, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I was on Odysseys of the Seas. I was on a ship that was just basically dead and hollow. Yeah, there was some good things about this ship, but overall it was a mixed bag and was dead and hollow. So my time on the Odysseys of the Seas cruise ship from October the 15th to October the 27th, 2023 was basically a mixed bag. I'm not gonna say it was good. I'm not gonna say it was bad. It just it was subpar and kind of low. Nothing to sneeze about. Okay, don't want to spend too much time on this, so let me get into this video. Okay, before I start, I just want to tell all of you I'm not a genius. I don't know everything. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't expect everybody to agree with me on what I say in these videos. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's okay. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me or you agree with me. I don't care. Okay, I really don't. I'm not gonna get upset if you guys like thumb any of my videos down, or I'm not gonna feel all great if you guys give me a thumbs up. I don't care. You guys are entitled to your own opinion. You don't have to say anything in the comments. You don't have to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't understand anything that I'm saying in this video. If anything not understand anything, if anything you guys hear in these videos that you really don't care about, that's fine. Okay. So, again, some of you guys have Asperger's or autism or any type of disability. So, I guess you guys are subbing to me because, I'm basically a mouthpiece for all of you. But, I'm not representing all of you. I just, I don't care who you are, disabled or non-disabled. I mean, you're welcome to this channel. But you guys want to cause trouble on here or troll me or whatnot, I'm just going to just block you and ignore you. Okay, enough of that. Let me get into this. Okay, ITA Airways. ITA Airways are Italia Trasporto Aereo. Yeah, it's an airline in Italy. I took one of these. I took one of the flights, from New York City at JFK Airport to an airport in Rome, Italy, and and from Rome, Italy, and back to JFK in New York City. I didn't plan. I didn't book this flight. This was all in the family. My mom and my sister was involved in picking this because it was cheap. It didn't cost a lot of money, and it was cheaper. And yeah, it just yeah. And they chose this because they were a bunch of penny pinchers just to save a buck. And you know it was like this how we got on how we flew from the U.S. to Italy and Europe. This is how it went. We all caught a flight from DFW in Dallas Fort Worth in Texas. So we flew from DFW in Dallas on a Delta airline, an airplane, fly from DFW in Dallas and all the way to John F. Kennedy International Airport, or JFK, in New York City. Did the 2-hour layover there and got on a Italian flight called ITA Airways, or Italia Trasporto Aereo, which we all took and flew from JFK in New York City to an airport in Rome, Italy. We stayed at JFK like all through the day, and it was nighttime in New York, and we took the Italian flight overnight from from JFK in New York to Rome, Italy, and when we left, to fly there to get on a cruise ship, the Odysseys of the Seas cruise ship, somewhere in Italy, to sail from Italy to Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus. Then after going to all those places in the Mediterranean and in southern Europe, we returned to Italy to get on another Italian flight, an ITA Airways flight, and fly from Rome, Italy, all the way back to JFK in New York City. And let me tell you something, those Italian flights were just god awful. They were terrible. They sucked. They sucked really bad. The airline stewardess were rude. And let me tell you why they were rude. Okay, on the Italian flight, the first Italian flight, the ITA Airways flight from JFK in New York City all the way to an airport in Rome, Italy. Okay, me, my sister, my dad, and my mom were all sitting in our seats on the flight. And I remember my sister was talking to one of the stewardess. The airline stewardess were basically men in uniforms. And my mom closed the window, closed a shut door to the window because she was sitting next to a seat. She was sitting in a seat next to a window, and she closed the shuttle. She closed the slide to the window. Excuse me. Yeah, she was sitting next to a window, and closed the slide door to the window to close it because it was nighttime. It was dark, and a steward, one of the stewardess came, didn't say anything to my mom, and just just opened the shuttle, not the shuttle, but opened up the slide door to the window and walked away. And the food was terrible. It was kind of bland. A lot of pasta. Then on the second flight back from on the second flight from Rome, Italy to JFK in New York. Okay, I was sitting next to my dad. But on the first flight, I was sitting in the middle seats with my sister and my dad. I was sitting between them, and my mother was sitting in a seat next to the window. On the second flight, okay, on the way back from Europe, I was sitting in the seat next to my dad. My dad was sitting next to the window, and I was sitting in a seat next to the aisle. And one of the Italian stewardess kept bumping into me when they were walking past me. They kept bumping into me, kept bumping into me, kept walking back and forth, These guys were rude, and they didn't talk to anybody. They treated everybody like crap, basically. And when I went into the bathroom on the second Italian flight, the bathroom was very filthy. It was dirty. It was nasty. It was gross. It was disgusting. It was like shit all over the place, like someone just blew up the bathroom. Shit was everywhere. I mean, the toilet water was black. There was shit all over the toilets and everywhere. The bathroom smelled really bad. It stunk to high heaven. Now, I think before I went in this bathroom, someone on the flight told me this. Hey, you don't need to go in. Hey, I wouldn't go in there if I were you. That bathroom was gross. That bathroom is gross. It was disgusting. And I had to go really bad. I didn't say anything to the guy. I should have said something to him, but I didn't. And I'm kicking myself for that. Okay, I went in, and the bathroom was I just saw how gross and disgusting that bathroom was. And it was terrible, ITA Airways, or Italia Trasporto Aereo, is one of the worst airlines I've ever been on. It was terrible. I mean, the flight attendants they were rude. They were acting like children. And let me tell you how these guys were acting. This is on the second Italian flight. Okay, there's some seats on the plane, and there's a curtain that goes around the seats. Okay, all the airline stewardess, they all got in the seats after they pulled the curtains around the seats, and they all went to sleep. It was hilarious. And my sister went up to them. She didn't say anything to them. She opened up the curtain, and she didn't say anything to them. One of them grabbed the curtain and just shut it. And my sister said, well, fuck you. And she walked away. Well, she didn't say that, but I just said that. She didn't say anything. So they were acting like children, and they were like middle-aged old men, like white guys with gray hair. I think they were like in their 50s. And they were. Looking back on it, I told my dad, when one of those guys were bumping into me, I should just went and smacked them in the face. And my dad said, no, you don't want to do that. This is an airline, and these guys got a lot of power, and you shouldn't. And hitting them isn't the answer. Well, I didn't get mad when those Italian flight attendants kept bumping into me all the time on the second flight. I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. I didn't complain or nothing. I just kept to myself. I didn't want to make a scene or anything. So I just, and I wasn't angry about it. I was just like talking about it. I was talking to people who just didn't care about my experience on this flight, on this Italian flight. So, in conclusion, before I end this video, I'm just gonna say this. Flying on airplanes isn't all sunshine and lollipops, and I know that. Some airlines are good, some aren't. But I can tell you one thing, as bad as Italiano Airlines or ITA Airways is, or Italia Transporto Aereo is, how bad this airline is, it's way better than the airlines here in the United States. Because let's face it, flying on American airlines or flying on airlines or airplanes or flying here in the U.S. on U.S. flights aren't that great either. Like a long time ago, like airlines in the U.S. were good. You had tables, like the stewardess served you food. It was like being at a restaurant on a plane. Yeah, they give you food. You're eating food out of a plate, drinking like you at a restaurant. And it was amazing, and it's not like that anymore. You get on a flight today, like you just sitting in a seat. They just give you like soda and chips. And they give you a small can of soda, and you have to split it with other people. That sucks. Yeah, like I'm saying, I have no bias with any airlines. It doesn't matter, No bias at all. But, in the future, I'm looking forward to flying on flights from Air Canada in Canada, Air France in France, and British Airways. I'm looking forward to flying on those flights. But if these flights aren't that great and the stewardess kind of suck, then I'm just going to just drop them and just ignore them and just move on. So that's all I gotta say in this video. And before I end this video, I'm at home and it's storming outside. A storm was brewing and it started raining. Raining like cats and dogs, thunderstorms. A while back in this month, there was a really nasty storm, a strong windstorm with rain and thunder and lightning. It blew trees down, trees were blown down by this storm, by this nasty, rough, powerful storm. Just blew trees down. Trees were were laying in front of people's houses. Tree branches were everywhere in front of other homes. And a tree fell down behind my house. Didn't do damage to the fencing around the house, but the tree was blown down. There was no damage or anything, so everything was okay around my house. It was a very nasty storm, and my sister had to come to my house for shelter from the storm because she had to get out of her trailer home. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say in this video. Thank you for watching the video, or thank you for listening. Alright, stay safe, be careful. Cheers and au revoir. Take care. Thank you. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.